Welcome to the Kilgrey online tutorial to get started with memoQ. In the fourth module of this 10-part series, we will look at how to get started with terminology. We will show you how to add and retrieve terms with a memoQ term base. This module will take between 10 and 15 minutes to go through. At the end, there will be 3 questions to test your understanding of the topics that were covered. In addition to the database that stores the segment pairs during translation, the translation memory, memoQ offers a term-based system where you can create your own dictionaries. This presentation will show you how to do the following: how to add and edit terms during translation, how to retrieve terms during translation, and how to add a whole list of terms to the term base. To get started with a translation, a project needs to be open. So after starting memoQ, you will see the list of projects. Double-click the project where you want to use a term base. The project home screen for this project will appear. You will be in the translations area where the documents in your project are listed. Go to the term base area and check that the term base is activated and set as target for new terms. If no term base is available, create one by clicking on the Create Use New button on the Term Bases ribbon tab. If you have several term bases, set the one that you want to use for saving your terms as target for new terms via the context menu or using the button Set as Target for New Terms on the Term Bases ribbon tab. Now go back to the Translations area. Open a document for translation. When you find a term pair you would like to save to the term base, mark the terms in the source and target language columns. Use the key combination Ctrl-Q to send the term pair directly to the term base, or use the Add Term command on the Quick Access ribbon tab or the key combination Ctrl-E to call up the term editing dialog. A term can be a single word or a word combination. There is no length limitation. Please note that memoQ automatically checks for duplicates when you enter a new term to the term base. If a duplicate term is found, it will be displayed on the Duplicates tab. You can then decide whether to merge the new term with an existing entry or whether to add a new entry. This is how terminology is marked in the translation grid and the results list. As soon as a term has been added to the term base, it will be recognized and marked with a blue background when it appears in the source segment. The results list will show the term in blue as well. To copy the terms from the results list to your translation, use the same shortcuts as for segments: Ctrl and the number of the term in the list. You can also just start typing the term. The predictive typing function will then show a list of terms that you might want to use at this time. When a term appears in the results list, you can click on it to see the full entry from the term base in the bottom right-hand window. Click on the Edit icon to open the term editing dialog. You can add synonyms for the source and target language by typing them into the input field and confirming them with the blue plus icon. The synonym is then added to the list of terms. For each synonym, you can add separate information. For example, in the Usage tab, you can add more information, like an example, or make this synonym a forbidden term. Once you have confirmed the term editing dialog with OK, the changes to the term base will have been applied. You will see that the forbidden term will be listed in black in the results list. If you have a whole list of terms you want to add to your term base, you can do the following. The easiest way is to create an Excel table with one column for each language and additional columns if you have synonyms or other information. The columns should have a title, like the name of the language, for example. This makes it easier to map the columns of our list to the fields in the term base. Each line is one term entry. Our sample entries have information on a subject matter, some have a node, and one has a synonym. Synonyms should be organized in separate columns with the same column heading as the main term. Go to memoQ and select the term base. You can import into a term base that is activated in a project. Using the project home screen term bases area, then select the term base and click on the Import Terminology button on the Term Bases ribbon tab, or you can import into a term base without going into a project. Then use the Quick Access toolbar and click on the Resource Console button, and there go to the Term Bases area, select the term base in the list and click on Import Terminology. Here we will import the list into a term base that is activated inside a project. Select the term base and click on the Import Terminology button, browse to the folder where your Excel file is stored and select the file. The import dialog appears. Before we can actually import the term list, we need to set some options. If you have used names for your columns, then it is a good idea to activate the checkbox First row contains field names. This will list the column names in the list of the fields below. At the bottom of the dialog, you will see a preview of your term list that you are going to import. Now comes the most important step. We will map the columns of our term list to the fields in the term base of memoQ. For each item in the list of fields, we will define if it is a language column which contains the terms, if it's a column that contains extra information, or if it should not be imported. For language columns, always select the option Import as Term and set the language for the terms. For other fields, check the option Import as Other Field and select a field from the drop-down menu. If there are any columns you do not wish to import, select the Do Not Import option. In the end, click on OK to start the import. The term base shows the entries as a list. Click on a term in the term list to add more information or change the entry. There is an editing dialog for the source language term, as well as for the target language term. For information that is not term-specific but applies to the whole entry, use the entry-level data fields. To delete an entry, click on the Delete icon, then on the brush icon to tidy up the view. In addition to your own term bases, you can configure memoQ to use your preferred online dictionaries as well. First, you specify the online dictionaries in the Resource Console. Then you activate Web Search in the default options of memoQ. After that, you will be able to search in these dictionaries from within memoQ's translation editor. Open the Resource Console via the Quick Access menu and select the Web Search Settings area. Web search settings for English and German have already been created. Use the Create New link to create settings for your own language. To add your own online dictionaries, edit the web search settings. Select the dictionaries you want to use from the list, or add your own. Then click the Options button in the Quick Access toolbar and select the default resources. Default resources are settings that are used in every project. Select the web search icon and then activate the web search settings you want to use. During translation, mark a term that you would like to look up and call up the context menu with a right click on the mark. Then select memoQ Web Search or press Ctrl F3. An extra window will pop up where all online dictionaries show the results for your search. This concludes the module on terminology. The next module in this series will show you how to use some of the quality assurance features during translation. On the next slide, we will ask you some questions that will help you to test your knowledge about dealing with terminology. Here comes the quiz. First question. What color is used to mark terminology in the text and the results list? The possible answers are red, or blue for allowed terms and black for forbidden terms, or blue and gray. The correct answer is blue and black. Second question. Can you import the term list into a term base? The possible answers are no, all terms have to be added manually. Yes, but it cannot be a TMX file. Or yes, but it has to be a text, Excel, TBX or TMX file. The correct answer is yes, but it has to be a text, Excel, TBX or TMX file. Third question. How can you save terminology to the term base during translation? The possible answers are mark source and target terms and use the plus icon to add new terms, or use the shortcuts Ctrl-Q or Ctrl-E. Mark the terms and press Enter, or mark a term, press Enter, mark the translation and press Enter again. The correct answer is mark the source and target terms and use the icon or the shortcuts Ctrl-Q or Ctrl-E. Thank you for watching this tutorial. The next module will show you how to use the QA checker to check for mistakes with tags, spaces and numbers and so on. This tutorial was created with memoQ 2015. The tutorial was created by Loctimize for Kilgrade Translation Technologies.